Aphrodite is the goddess of love, beauty, and desire. But according to one of the oldest Greek myths, she wasn't born from two loving parents. She emerged from the sea after one of the most violent acts in Greek mythology, and somehow that became the birth of the goddess of love. To understand Aphrodite's strange birth, we have to go back to the beginning. Long before Zeus ruled Mount Olympus, Greek mythology described a much older generation of gods. One of them was Uranus, the personification of the sky, and Uranus had a son named Cronus. But Cronus eventually turned against his own father, and what happened next would create one of mythology's strangest stories. According to the poet Hesiod, Cronus attacked Uranus, and in one of the most disturbing moments in the entire story, Cronus violently mutilated his father. The severed remains were thrown into the sea. But this wasn't the end, because according to the myth, something began happening in the water. The sea churned. White foam gathered around what had fallen into it, and from that foam, a figure began to appear. A woman, beautiful, otherworldly, and completely unlike the violent event that had created her. Her name was Aphrodite, and here's where the story gets even stranger. Aphrodite wasn't simply described as being born from the ocean. In Hesiod's version, the sea foam itself became part of her origin. The Greek word associated with her name is connected with aphros, meaning foam. So her very identity became linked to the sea foam surrounding her birth. But there was another detail. She wasn't portrayed as an ordinary newborn. The myth describes her appearing as a fully formed divine figure, almost as if she had simply arrived. And that raises a bizarre question. Why would the Greeks create a goddess of love from such a violent beginning? The answer may lie in what Aphrodite represented. Love, desire, beauty, attraction, things that can create life, but can also cause chaos. And Greek mythology rarely separated beauty from danger. The same desire that brings people together can destroy kingdoms. The same beauty that inspires devotion can create jealousy. And Aphrodite herself would eventually become involved in some of the most destructive stories in Greek mythology. But there's an even bigger twist, because this isn't actually the only story about where Aphrodite came from. Another ancient tradition gives her a completely different parentage. In Homer's tradition, Aphrodite has a different origin. Instead of emerging from sea foam, she is described as the daughter of Zeus and Dione. That's a completely different story. No violent overthrow of Uranus. No strange birth from the sea. No foam. Just a goddess born into the divine family. So which version is correct? The strange answer is, both stories belong to Greek mythology. Ancient Greek myths weren't one single, perfectly consistent universe. Different poets, cities, and traditions told the stories differently. And that's why Aphrodite can have two completely different beginnings. But the sea foam story may contain something even more interesting. Aphrodite's birth connects her to something ancient Greeks understood very well: the unpredictable power of desire. She appears suddenly. She has no childhood, no gradual transformation. She simply emerges, already powerful, already beautiful, already capable of changing the lives of gods and humans. And that fits the nature of desire itself. You can't always predict when attraction will appear. You can't always control it. And once it arrives, everything can change. So what actually happened? Historically, nothing. This is mythology. There is no evidence that Aphrodite literally emerged from the sea. But the story tells us something about the people who created it. The Greeks used mythology to explain forces they couldn't simply control: love, death, war, nature, desire. And Aphrodite represented one of the most powerful forces of all: human attraction. The strange birth story may have been symbolic. Beauty emerging from chaos, desire emerging from violence, something captivating appearing from something terrifying. And perhaps that's why the story survived for thousands of years. And there's one final detail that makes the story even stranger. Aphrodite's unusual birth didn't make her some minor sea spirit. She became one of the most important gods in Greek mythology. Her influence reached far beyond romance. She could inspire obsession, jealousy, desire, conflict. And according to another famous myth, her beauty would eventually help trigger the events that led to the Trojan War. So the goddess born from sea foam would become powerful enough to help reshape the fate of an entire civilization. Thank you for watching an Afterplot production episode. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Turn on post notifications for more crazy episodes.